Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Khalila and this is Khalila's World. So today I just wanted to talk about everything that I'm reading during my winter break from school because I haven't been able to read and sit down and enjoy a book for a good long while, so I just wanted to share everything that I'm reading. I am in law school and I typically don't read anything for fun. I typically can't even think about reading anything for fun, but the first book, I bought this almost a year ago now, and I'm finally excited to be able to sit down and read it. This is Three Women by Lisa Taddeo. I hope I pronounced that right. But it's by this journalist, essentially, who followed three women and their lives and certain things that happen in their lives, and she kind of goes through that process and follows them. There's a young mother in suburban Indiana, Maggie, a 17-year-old high school student, and Sloan, a successful restaurant owner. And I won't say what kind of exciting life things that happen in this book with these three women, but I just wanted to show, I really enjoy nonfiction, and I know, and this will be a fun nonfiction, and this was made into a original series on Showtime with, I think Shailene Woodley is one of the women, and I am excited to read this. Next, I have, again in the nonfiction genre, I have The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. I've had this book on my bookshelf for a while. I'm trying to get through a lot of books that have been on my bookshelf that I have not picked up, and I don't mind self-help books. I think I'm about maybe like a fourth of the way through, and it's interesting so far. I'm probably gonna end up giving this away once I'm done with it, but it is interesting. I just find the way that this author talks about women odd, even though it's not really man or woman, but it's just in some of the examples he gives and some of the kind of I really don't know how to explain it better than just the way he mentions women in this. Feels kind of odd. But next, again, in the nonfiction, this is a book that I think everyone should read. It's Evicted by Matthew Desmond. This won a Pulitzer Prize. Housing is such an important issue in this country if you live in the U.S. And I'm sure everywhere else in the world, housing is it can be so polarizing, and it really shouldn't be. And I was recommended this book by two professors at school, and I've been reading this book for about a year, but I had to stop. One, because it's hard, and two, because again, I'm not reading for fun, and I'm actually almost done with this. That's my little bookmark right there, if you can see it. But this book is based it's in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, one of the poorest cities in America, and even though it's so poor, it's still so heavily segregated. It follows tenants and landlords. I think he tries to give us an insight into a landlord's mind and how they think, but still no landlord love around here, really. It's really kind of hard to get behind these landlords, especially the way they think. But the tenants, it's really kind of an interesting insight into the way tenants think about housing, how they try and find housing, how they lean on their communities, and even how they will still disparage black people, people of color, and their neighborhoods, even though they're just as poor, because it follows white and black people in this book. It's so interesting, and it led me to learning about a phenomenon, I guess you call it, that W.E.B. Du Bois coined, which I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen when I can think of it, but it's really just so interesting. Just everyone should read this. Everyone should read this. Moving on to fiction, finally. I have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is a queer story. This is about a woman who moves to New York City and she meets another woman, and it's supposed to be a nice fun romance. I have had this book on my bookshelf also for a little good minute, but I'm excited to read this. I don't read a lot of romances typically, but I think this is going to be fun, and I know Casey has a lot of good books, so I'm excited. I would love, one day I'm going to write a fiction book. Maybe it's going to be romance. Maybe it's going to be something a little fun and sexy, but until then, I have to read a bunch. And then last, I am excited for this. I'm also about a third of the way through. This is called The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. This was on a table in Barnes and Nobles, and it was like, if you like Sinners, read these, and I loved Sinners. So I picked up this. This is a book about, I can't remember what time. I think it's set in like 1960s Washington, D.C. And it's about a woman who she believes she was cursed with being able to talk to the other side and kind of communicate with the spirits, and she is trying to get rid of that curse by dealing with a spirit, and she has to steal a ring from one of the richest and most well-known black women in the city, and it's kind of the story about that. And so far it's been really fun. It's really interesting. I haven't read like kind of like a thriller drama sci-fi book in a while, and I'm excited to start. And I just remember this is set in 1920s DC, not 1960s, but I'm excited to get through all of these. My break ends like the last week of July, or the second to last week of July, and I have 5 books that hopefully I'll be able to get through. As long as I can get off my phone, I'll be able to get through them. But if you've read any of these, let me know what you think. And if you have any other recommendations, drop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.